Welcome to the video on how to play the Harry Potter main theme on the violin and the viola. So I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions to learn this. But first I'll play it for you. Okay, so I'm going to give it to you in 4, 8, 10, 11 steps. This is not easy, but it'll challenge you, but it will ultimately really benefit you as you're progressing on your instrument. So we're going to do this step by step, but not in the order of the song. So stick with me through this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do are 3 notes. On the D string, we're going to play open D, and we're going to slur it with our F, which is a low 2. So a slur meaning in the same bow without stopping. And then we're going to add an E, first finger, after that. But we're going to change bow on the E. So it sounds like that. So you want to be very smooth. All right, that's step number 1. Step number 2 is we're going to add 1 note after that. It's a D flat. We're going to play it on our G string with our 4th finger, our pinky finger. It's a low 4th finger, okay? So if you know where your 3rd finger goes, put it down and then put your 4th finger right next to it, very, very close so it's touching. And that's your D flat. Okay, so we're going to add that note at the end of what we played in step 1. And besides playing that note in tune, our goal is to be as smooth and connected from one note to the next as we can. Okay, so it's a very strange sounding melody. So it's important that you know exactly where your fingers go, because otherwise your ear might confuse you a little bit. Okay, so that's step number 2, is adding that D flat. All right, step number 3. We're going to play 2 notes here. We're going to play an E flat, which is our 1st finger on the D string, but it's not where our normal one goes. It's where we would play a low one. So if you see my hand, I'm going to reach it back. I'm not going to move my hand. I'm reaching my finger, pulling my finger back. That's an important step, because if you pull your hand back, now the rest of your hand is going to be out of place, or the rest of your fingers are going to be out of place. So you need to learn how to just reach back with your 1st finger, leaving your hand in place. So the E flat is called a low 1, that's on our D string, and that's an up bow. And then we're going to play after that a regular 1, but on our G string. Okay, that's an A. So low 1 on the D string, regular 1 on the A string. See how we're just moving the finger without the hand and the arm shifting. Now this one's going to be very hard to connect, but do your best to make it as smooth as you can. That's step number 3. Okay, once you're good at that, we're going to piece this together. So we're going to put steps 1, 2, and 3 all together. Then we'll our 4, that was step 2, and then our 1s, that's step 3. So without stopping, So that's what that sounds like. So we've made it through the first 4 steps. Okay, so the next step. We're going to play on the A string this time. And we're going to do another slur. We're going to play a B flat on the A string, which is another low 1. So just like we did before, we're going to reach our first finger back. And we're going to slur this with an open A. And then at the end of that, we're going to play a low 4th finger again, this time on our D string. This note is called A flat. So just like before, if you know where your 3rd finger goes, put it down. Your 4th finger goes as close to it as you can, so it's touching. And then we put those together. And there we go. That's the next step. That's step 5. Okay? All right. Now, step 6. We're going to play a B flat again. And then we're going to play an F sharp on the D string. That's a high 2. Now, the tricky thing here is because we're playing a B flat before it, and it's a low 1 on the A string, it's going to feel like a very big reach between these 2 notes. Now, the other thing is, we're going to leave our first finger on the A string. We're going to leave it pressing down while we're playing the F sharp. Because after the F sharp, we're going to lift and play the B flat again. So the B flat's going to stay down the whole time. Like that. So practice that. That's step 6. Step 7 is we're now going to find a B natural on our A string, which is a regular first finger. And we're going to put our 2nd finger right next to it, touching. This is a low 2 on the A string. It's called a C natural. So we're going to play 3 notes. We're going to play C, B, and B flat by reaching our finger back. So those 3 notes. Okay? And one thing you can notice here is the length of the notes. We're going to play a half note on the C, so 2 beats. 1, 2, a quarter note on the B, so 1 beat. 1, and then a half note on the B flat, so 2 beats. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 1, 2. Okay? All right, I think that's, I'm losing track here. Step 6, I believe. No, sorry, that's step 7. Okay, that's step 7. So, we're going to do step 8, which is starting on our first finger on the G string. That's an A. It's a regular first finger, okay? It's not a low first finger. And then our 2nd finger on the D string, which is right next to the first finger, but on a new string, right? So if your first finger's on the G string, your 2nd finger is next to it, touching, but on a different string, on the D string. So those 2 notes, and that makes up step number 8. Now, we need to put all of this together. So steps 5 through 8 go together. It goes in this order. We did step 7, so we did it out of order. Here's step 7. Followed by step 6. So if you notice, steps 7 and 6 are kind of combined. Because it ends step 7 with a B flat, which is also the start of step 6. And then the end of step 6 is actually also the beginning of step 5. So we're putting them together in reverse order of how we learned it. and then step 8 is next, which is the one we just finished. That comes at the end. And then when we finish putting 5 through 8, steps 5 through 8 together, we're going to end it on an open D. This is actually the end of the main theme to Harry Potter. If we put all that together and I don't talk through it, it sounds like this. Okay? So we've made it through our first 8 steps, and if you found this challenging, you're not alone. It's very difficult. Now, the good news is if you've gone this far and you're feeling good, the rest is very, very easy in comparison to what we've already done. Okay? So what we need to do now is we need to go and basically just add the beginning. Okay, so you know, if you remember back to step number 1, we played these 3 notes. So step number 9 is going to be to add a note before that. It's an A on the G string, so your first finger, and it's an up bow. So this is the very beginning of the Harry Potter theme. Okay, that's step number 9. Step 10 is adding the next 4 notes after that. Very easy notes to add. It sounds like this. If you're not sure what notes I added, it was open D to open A, G, which is our 3rd finger on the D string, and E, which is the 1st finger on the D string. Putting those together with the beginning. Putting that together is step number 10. So we are to step 11. Step 11 is adding what we just played, the beginning of that, to the end. So it's part of the end. So up to the open A, it's the same as the beginning, and then when it repeats. Now, at this point, you have to know which turn to take, okay? So in step 10, which I just taught you, what do? After the open A, we go to the G and the E. However, here in step 11, we're playing the ending. So it starts the same, but now, instead of doing what we just did, we're going to play the part we did in steps 5 through 8. So step 11, we're not actually learning or adding any new notes. We're just piecing old parts that we learned together. Okay? So just to reiterate, this last step, we are adding step 10 with steps 5 through 8. All right, so one more time. Okay, that was the part of step 10, and here's 5 through 8. All right, now, that's the 11th step, okay? So that's the end of our steps. But if you want to put the whole thing together in order, first is the beginning is what we did in step 10. And then we go to what we did at the beginning, steps 1 through 4. Okay, and then we go to what is step 11. And then what we did was steps 5 through 8. And there it is. That is the Harry Potter theme for the violin or the viola. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you get good at it. And be patient and don't get frustrated. It's a tricky one.